NICOLA Sturgeon is building. Standing at the Bute House podium yesterday proclaiming Scotland's right to hold a second independence referendum, she should have been wearing a hard hat. The First Minister has a grand design in mind but knows it will collapse unless the foundations are sound. So that's what she is doing, laying the foundations for a yes vote. She appeared to be making the case for the right to a referendum, but the real purpose was to rally supporters to the independence cause. Technical arguments about the mandate for another vote flowed seamlessly into an emotional pitch for yes that appealed directly to voters' sense of justice, how Boris Johnson was remaking our future without our consent and how things would be better if Scotland just went it alone. Let's imagine a country that is at the heart of Europe, a welcoming, outward-looking nation, a country where we get governments we vote for, a Scotland with full powers to lift children out of poverty, a fairer country and a more prosperous economy. The Yes campaign has already started and it's aiming firmly for your heart. Why? Because Ms. Sturgeon knows that the detailed arguments over what independence will mean, questions about the currency, fiscal constraint, depleted oil revenues and the English-Scottish border, are more complex and troublesome than she would like, even with Mr. Johnson in Westminster. If she can avoid engaging with them until she has to, and use her time instead building principled support for independence, by exploiting unhappiness with Westminster, then it might make all the difference. Because a yes win in another referendum is far from certain. No matter when it is held, the campaign will turn the spotlight on tricky issues. Just how tricky was highlighted by an exchange yesterday between her Constitution Secretary Michael Russell and the BBC's Justin Webb on the Today programme. Now, Mr. Russell is a very bright chap and I do not take lightly the decision to compare him to David Davis. The intellectually underwhelming Mr. Davis was so unconvincing as Brexit Secretary he made his successor Dominic West-Dover. Rob seemed like Henry Kissinger. But there is simply no denying the Davis-Russell parallel. Mr. Davis was famous for airily dismissing difficult technical questions about the UK's trading relationships. And weirdly, Mr. Russell adopted a similar tactic. Asked about the risk of a hard border between England and Scotland, Mr. Russell tried first to deflect the question, saying he would have that debate as part of the independence referendum, then when forced to respond, asserted there would be no need for a hard border, in effect because Mr. Johnson had said so. The Prime Minister, he said, had stated his intention to have an open, productive, tariff-free trading relationship with Europe and that it would also apply to. For more on this story, visit the news article link.